at 10 on Cactv. I am Modut Dominic. First, let's take a look at the headlines making the news around the globe. FG may spend 3.27 trillion naira on palliative and loan. Fuel imports gulp 843 trillion. Stakeholders lament inactive refineries. Tinubu swears in new ministers as FEC meets today. Oil marketers shut filling stations as scarcity spreads to Lagos and environs. My change of name from Sadiq to Atiku Abubakar, well documented. Ex-VP. BBC insists Tinubu's CSU certificate not forged. It's time to fix Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road, says Akpabio. Poland exits polls. Donald Tusk claimed victory based on coalition and hope. Israel occupation of Gaza would be big mistake, says Biden, as Rafah crossing expected to open. And let's take the news in full. Federal government may spend 3.27 trillion on palliative loans to the total spending by the federal government on palliative and loans to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal may hit 3.27 trillion. Findings by the Punch shows that the palliative and loan were meant to cushion the effect of economic hardship in Nigeria and business following the removal of fuel subsidy and skyrocketing customer price due to high inflation. These palliatives include 100 billion naira to acquire 3,000 units of 20-seaters, CNG fueled source and buses. I beg to say, 200 billion naira to boost agricultural production. 752 billion naira for manufacturers and 125 billion for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises and the in-house sector. So we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at further stories making the headlines. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is still Cactv News. Fuel imports gulp 843 billion naira. Stakeholders lament inactive refineries. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited may be spending about 843 billion naira monthly on importation and premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, following the halt in oil swap by the firm. Findings shown on Sunday. NNPCL, the sole importer of petrol into Nigeria, has started buying petrol using cash tender rather than oil swap, Router report on Saturday. In the swap arrangement known as direct sales, direct purchase, which had been in place for nearly a decade, the national oil firm sells crude to refiners, who will in turn supply to NNPCL with an equivalent worth of refined petroleum products. In July, data from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petrol Regulatory Authority showed that between June 1st and June 28, 2023, which was described as the post-deregulated period, the total petrol consumption across the country was 1.38 billion liters, while the average daily consumption was put at 48.43 million liters. Tinubu swears in new ministers as FEC, I beg to say, meets today. President Bola Tinubu will today, being Monday, swear in 3 additional ministers into his 48-person cabinet. A senior official in the presidency who did not want his name to be mentioned because he was not authorized to speak on the matter, confirmed to the correspondent that the 3 new ministers will be sworn into office at the council chamber of the State House before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council meeting. All marketers shut filling stations as scarcity spreads to Lagos environ. There were indications yesterday that the petrol scarcity returned to Lagos and its environ, as many oil marketers shut down outlets against the motorists and other buyers. The scarcity was noticed in Abuja and environ last week. Development oil marketers had attributed to bad roads and high cost of diesel and distribution. But check by news outlet also shows that over the weekend indicated that many independent and major oil marketers were not open for business, leaving only NNPC limited to attend to customers in most part of Lagos that was visited. It was also gathered by the NNPC Limited as supplies because it remains the only importer of products. Despite deregulation, other operators have been able to import petrol because of market uncertainty and lack of foreign exchange, currently standing at more than 1,000 naira per litre, 1,000 naira stroke dollar in the informal markets. In a telephone interview with the news outlet yesterday, the president of the Independent Petroleum Marketer Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, Chinedu Okorongwo, said action has been taken to address the situation. My change of name from Sadiq to Atiku Abubakar well documented, says ex-VP. The Atiku Media Office has said that attempt by the presidency and All Progressive Congress (APC) to drag former Vice President Atiku Abubakar into forgery scandal is calculated move to downplay the allegation against President Bola Tinubu. Atiku's media advisor Paul Ibe, in the statement issued on Sunday, said Tinubu and his adlers should desist from making any further attempt to compare the presidency and Atiku. He also insisted that all the names that Atiku bear are names that are traceable to his family tree. BBC insists Tinubu's CSU certificate not forged. The British Broadcasting Corporation (BBC) is standing by its story published last week as the President Bola Tinubu Chicago State University certificate is not forged. The international media outfit, in a reaction to complaint forwarded to it by an individual, insisted on the certainty of the story. A letter signed by BBC complaint team addressed to the audience member at the weekend expressed regret that some people are unhappy with our findings on this matter. The BBC letter reads, "Dear audience member, thank you for taking time to write to us. We receive a number of similar complaints and we regret that you are unhappy with our findings on this matter. We have looked into this and the BBC has not seen any evidence that the certificate was forged. We also contacted the Chicago State University, and they confirmed that Bola Tinubu graduated from the university in 1979 with a bachelor's degree. We believe our next piece has been informative and responsible, reporting known fact. We therefore stand by our journalism. It's time to fix Lagos Ibadan Express Road. It's time, I beg to say, it's time to fix Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road, says Akpabio. Senate President, I beg to say, Godwill Akpabio has said the Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road needs urgent repairs to relieve the users of further harrowing experience. He promised federal government assist to put the road in a better shape, as well as other federal roads across the state. The Senate President relieved his experience on the deplorable state of the federal road he passed through while traveling from Lagos to Ilaro in Ogun State. At the weekend, Akpabio made the promise at the grand final of the Yewa Culture Festival with the theme Celebration of Culture, Tradition, Music, Cuisine and Dance, held at the ultra-modern Pavilion Empire Field in Ilaro. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take further stories making headlines. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back to the news at 10. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Now we'll look at further stories making the headlines. Poland exits polls. Donald Tusk claimed victory based on coalition hopes. Civic coalition expected to have got fewer votes than ruling Law and Justice Party, but is likely to ally with other parties. Donald Tusk, the former Polish Prime Minister and European Council President, claimed victory in Poland parliamentary election on Sunday, making the announcement just minutes after the polls closed. Based on the results of an exit poll, the poll suggested the ruling Law and Justice (PIS) party had won the most votes, but appeared to show a route to government for a combined opposition coalition led by Tusk. PIS, which was also governed by Poland for 8 years. Israel occupation of Gaza will be big mistakes, says Biden, as Rafah crossing expected to open. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says Egypt's Gaza crossing will reopen after meeting with Egypt's president, but does not confirm a time. Any move by Israel to occupy Gaza would be a big mistake, U.S. President Joe Biden has said, amid hopes that the enclave's border with Egypt will open to allow aid in, as Israel troops continue to prepare for a ground invasion. In an interview with 60 Minutes on Sunday, Biden said he relieved the Hamas militant group must be implemented as also make a part to a Philistine state. Israel unleashed a bombing campaign on Gaza after killed more than 103,000 Israelis, mostly civilians. So we'll also take the next news. Also says that diplomats race to ease crisis in Gaza. Emphatic talks. and is okay. Now this is the new. Also, in other news, we also have that, and with an Israeli group invasion looming, officials from the U.S. and Middle East countries, include Egypt, sought to ease with the Israeli officials have also called for a siege in Gaza after days after acute water shortage. Israel has agreed to restore water to a pipeline that served a southern part of the enclave, a top US official said. Read the latest in the crisis as Israeli troop marches on the border. More than 2 million Gaza residents endured a panicked countdown to the expected slated of the ground invasion in the north. And that's how much we can take for this morning news. Thank you so much for staying tuned. For the news to come your way, I remain Modut Dominic, and this is CACTV News.